Hey there, welcome to a quick Photoshop tutorial on how I edited this landscape photo. This tutorial is about how to get this sort of high contrast black and white effects on your photos. Now this is not going to work on every single photo that you have. It works a lot better for images like this. Let me show the original, which is this one. You can see we have pretty much no detail on the sky and on the water either, so we have a lot of highlights, and that's mostly because this is a long exposure photo. In fact, maybe I can see the camera data. It's a 30-second exposure at an f13, so that's why you can see the smooth effects here on the water. This is a water splash, and this is why we have no details on the sky either, because the clouds kind of blurred. Well, they're gone. So for this kind of images where you have where you don't have too many details and we have this wet rocks here, I knew this effect would work nice because in fact I made a similar tutorial for the Photoshop Creative magazine a few months ago, and I used a similar image. And well, let me show you again. The result is this. And well, let's jump right into it. You can see I just have a few adjustments. What I will do is put them all in a group, because I don't want to create a new document. So what I will do is duplicate this image and delete the filters. And I want to have this as a backup right here. Actually, let me put it on inside that group. So what I usually do when I want to do an effect like this is convert the background image, unlock it first, and then right click and choose convert to smart object, because I want to apply some filters to it. And the filter that I apply is going to image. Actually, it's an adjustment. Go to adjustments and choose shadows highlights. And the reason why I do this is because I want to bring back details into the image. If you have a raw file, you can use camera raw to add more light on the shadows, or if you have a TIFF file or a 16-bit file, you'll be able to recover more detail. But this is a simple 8-bit JPEG file. So I will use the shadows. I will increase the amount, and if you take a look here at below the pier here and this parts of the rocks here, when I increase the tonal width, see how I add more light and recover more detail on the image. And then I'll increase the radius just a bit. And with this, I think I already mentioned this on previous tutorials, you can almost get HDR effects. And we will do the same with the highlights. We'll increase the amount. I will not explain how this works. I just show you how I apply it. It's not really difficult. With the highlights, what you do is lower the highlights, so to say, and recover some detail there. The tonal width, we will increase it as well. As you can see how the image becomes darker. And if we increase the radius, you will start to see those, I'll do it again, see those glows around the edges there. And you can play with that if you like this kind of effect. I personally don't like those glows too much, so, but anyways, you can also play with the midtone contrast. In this case, I will not touch it. Well, let's leave it at, well, at -12, it looks well for me. And you can see the change. It's a really big change. I will not mess with the color correction, because we will turn this into black and white anyways. So we'll click OK, and you can see that now this is a smart filter. The next thing that I added is, of course, the black and white adjustment. I like to work with adjustment layers. I've seen a lot of people editing on the background layer. I'm not a big fan of that. So, well, you can work however you like. And with this, you can do what you can do is change the brightness of each color here independently. So you can see we have the reds, yellows, greens, and etc. So with the cyans and blues, we can really lower the cyans and the blues and make the sky darker and the water as well. You can see we're starting to get that high contrast effect. We have little reds and yellows, some here on the rocks and here on the pier, and actually no magentas. So you can play with this and get the kind of effect that you like. Maybe you like them darker, or I like to see this kind of details here on the rocks. Okay, so let's leave it like that. And the next thing that I added is a gradient map. A gradient map with the default black and white. Click OK and OK. And this is just to add a bit more contrast, because with the shadows and highlights, we reduced a bit the contrast by adding light on the shadows and by lowering the highlights a bit. So with the gradient map, we're putting a bit of contrast back on the image. I'll change the blend mode of this to soft light, this gradient map, and I'll reduce the opacity. Well, here is it depends on your taste. It's really up to you. I'll leave it at 50% more or less. And then if you need it, you can add some levels or curves. I will add some levels and just pump up the highlights just a bit, like that. And I will not touch the midtones and the shadows either, so you can see the before and after, just to add a bit of light here on this part of the image on the center. And then if you like it, on some images it looks nice, on some images it doesn't. I add a solid color layer and make it black. This is just to create a vignetting effect. I'll create a big circular selection like this. I want to make it bigger, so I'll right click and choose transform selection and make it somewhere like that. Press enter and I'll fill the selection with black. Okay, so we will have these corners now here, which will be our vignetting effect. I will double click on this. I'm working on Photoshop CS6, so if you double click on the layer mask, you'll get with this, you'll open this panel which allows you to set the feather, which is the softness of the edges of the mask, and that way you can increase this and create the vignetting effect. Even so, it's kind of strong, and I will decrease the opacity of the layer. You can also try changing the blend mode to soft light and leaving it at 100%, but in some cases it doesn't look nice, so it's just a matter of trial and error. You can also create a merge all the layers and go to filter and choose lens correction, and inside of there you'll have a vignetting control, but this is a lot easier in my opinion. And next, for the final touch, I created a stamp. I'll press Shift Alt Command and E, or Shift Alt Control E on a PC, and you can see this takes a sort of a snapshot of all the files merged, all the layers, sorry. And I'll create a layer mask for this. Create layer mask, and I will select the image now and go to filter. I want to apply some filters to this, so I'll go to the filter gallery. And the filter that I want to apply first is inside the artistic folder is the paint outs. This is to sharpen the image. Now you can use an unsharp mask if you want, but I don't know, I like this sharpening filter. And then I'll create a new layer and I'll select another effect which is inside the distort folder and choose diffuse glow. This is to sort of soften the highlights and create sort of a glow around the highlights. And the settings here depend on what you like. If you add graininess, you get some noise on the image, which on black and white images in many cases it looks really nice, so it's just a matter of seeing what you like. With the glow amount, of course, you can add the amount of glow, and if you increase the clear, you'll kind of clear the globe and have bigger but softer glows. I think I'll leave it like here, and then here you have to kind of overdo the settings, because we will use that layer mask to fade the effect. If you click OK, you can fade it from here if you go to edit and choose fade filter gallery. And if you do that, you will open this small window here which allows you to kind of back up the effect a bit and change the blend mode of this. But I will not do that. I will use this layer mask to make a sort of a selective masking here, because now if you take a look at the image, it's a lot sharper, and okay, but we don't want that sharpness and this glow all around the image. So I'll select the layer mask and go to edit and choose no, to image, sorry, and choose apply image. And here we will select on the source part here where it says layer, we will choose our background layer, which is the layer copy, your first layer. So choose layer 0 copy in my case. Here you'll have all the layers listed, even the ones that I have inside this group. So I'll choose layer layer 0 copy, sorry. Channel, we'll leave it to RGB, even though you could change you can change the channel, and you will see that the layer masker is updated. And from here on the blending, you can try different blend modes and see what you get here on the image, because it's automatically updated once you change the blend modes. And the objective here is to get the sharpness and the glow on just some parts of the image, either the highlights or the shadows. And you can take a look at the layer mask and see the result. Let's try, well, let's leave it on RGB and choose like maybe difference. Try the invert settings. Yeah, I like the invert settings a bit more, and I'll click OK. And what happens is that now this layer 0 acts as a layer mask for this layer. So you can see that now parts here that are white, the effect will pass through that. So this parts will be sharpened, this parts right here, the highlights and everything. But on the shadows we have no sharpness. Because, well, this is black and the effect does not pass through that black. And see the before and after with the layers 2 active and without it. And if I deactivate the layer mask, you will see the result. See, it was too soft, we lost a lot of detail there. But if I activate it, you can see we can still see these details here, and we still have sharpness on the details of the image. So while this is the end result, let me show you again the before and after, the original image, and with our editing and with our settings here. So well, I hope you liked this tutorial. It was a bit quick, so well, I'll give you the PSD file, you can download it on my website, and that's it for today. See you on the next tutorial.